Welcome back to another Tool World podcast. This is your host here, David Jew, and I'm here with Master Jew today.
How's it going today, Mr. Jew?
It's an iffy day.
Just an
and
iffy day.
I'll tell you why. Well, actually, you already know why.
Well, let everyone else know why.
Right. But first, before we get into that, I would just like to say congratulations. Last week was our 100th podcast episode.
Wow.
Wow. And this has been going on for at least
a couple years
now.
Yeah.
I remember doing this back in college.
How did that all start anyway? I was doing podcasts for our studio.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
you know what happened was he said, "Oh, I can't seem to talk to myself." So he was like, "I need somebody to ask me questions during the podcast." And then reeled me in. Now we have the videos, the podcasts.
You've taken it to another level though.
I don't know. You guys tell me. Let us know.
Well, the videos for sure.
Yeah, it's just a video.
An obsession with all this light and quality.
There's no lights in here anymore. No. Today we're kind of in our local donut store.
Yep, out in San Ramon.
It's
a pretty good donut store, by the way.
It is a good donut store.
And the name of that store is?
Digby's Donuts.
Yeah. So if you're in the area, go check them out.
Right. They had a disgruntled kind of customer today. And that kind of brought up the question about Taekwondo. And we're, thinking about how can we make a more peaceful world. And that's kind of our last line in our student oath.
Right.
And what does that mean? So, what do you think?
Well, first of all, we were there, and I was actually quite shocked to see someone quite upset. Mm-hmm. And I was watching the owner, and she was pretty calm, but the guy was going off. I was like, oh boy. And he went out, and he actually came back in. And I'm thinking, oh, there's something, you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going on with his mind, mm-hmm. and whether or not we would have to step in to help her if he became a little too violent. Mm-hmm. But those are the things that you do have to be prepared. Mm-hmm. You don't really know if something is going to go sideways. And so luckily he just walked out, whatever. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about we shall build a more peaceful world, and how do we do that? Obviously, everyone has different ideas about what's right and wrong. Is there a right or wrong? Is there? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think what happened with that incident with the donut shop was she said something, and I think maybe he didn't hear her, and he kind of got upset and think, "Are you not servicing me?" Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, she does have a mask on, and so I know some of the students don't hear me.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes people think I'm ignoring them. Mm-hmm. Like Mr. Wolf.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did respond.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they didn't hear it because it's all muffled or whatever. Mm-hmm. I know I find myself having to say, "Can you say that again?" Get the mask. Can you use it? And I have to get closer. Mm-hmm. Right? So maybe that's what happened there. Mm-hmm. And so people do need to be able to look at other people's point of view, and that's easier to say than it's easier said than done.
Mm-hmm. I think a big thing about it is also like, understanding the different cultures that we have, especially, we live in California. We got tons of, it's pretty diverse. Very diverse. And so, to understand how certain people speak is different than how you speak, how we speak, and how we behave, because we've lived. You were born in America. I was born in America. Is much different than somebody that's coming in from an outside country as well.
So I was born in a different country.
He was born in Utah, so I guess that was a different country. But I kind of going off that is just having kind of more understanding, and that's kind of why travel is such a big thing in the encyclopedia in Taekwondo. To be able to do something that everybody does around the world is a great thing. You don't even have to speak the same language. All coming together, doing one thing is also a great thing as well. But learning each other's cultures is very, different.
Yep.
You have to be very open-minded.
Right. No, you do. And General Che does say when you travel, go to historical places and learn what happened there. And hopefully we can learn from those mistakes or victories or defeats or whatever it is, and that we can be better in that way. But I don't know. History just seems to be repeating itself.
Right.
So we'll keep trying to build a more peaceful world. And I think one of the things is Taekwondo can do that, in that when we respect one another, and I understand we all get upset, but having that respect can really make a difference.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Mr. Ju, the student oath, right?
Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of the philosophy in a way, don't you think?
Kind of.
I mean, it's a way of thinking. I shall observe the tenets of Taekwondo.
Yeah.
And what are they? Well, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit. And I think if we could just look at those 5 tenets, and if we could just go through them every day and go, courtesy. Did I have courtesy today? Did I have integrity today?
Yeah.
Right? Did I have perseverance? Did I have self-control? Did I have indomitable spirit? And maybe we can't check off every one of them every day, but if we can strive to do that, right? I mean, like for instance, that guy, he could have. Did he have courtesy? Well, when you're arguing, there's not much courtesy going on.
Yeah.
Right. Self-control. What about that? Was he able to control himself? Right. Obviously, it didn't go to a higher escalation of some kind of assault or violence, which is good. But self-control. So if we can maybe check off some of those boxes, and I think it's kind of important that we try to remember those things and do it every day. And I think that's a good reason why we say the student oath every day in class.
Right.
I was born and raised in Utah, and I've said this in class. I remember me and an African American student were the only ethnic person in the whole school, and I remember being picked on, bullied. Remember getting beat up. Still remember that, and I kind of remember saying to myself on a fairly regular basis, if not daily basis, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me, because I was called different names all the time, and I just kind of thought that was life. That's the way it is, right?
Yeah.
And and then moving to California, where a little bit more diversity, a little bit different culture, I think still had it. I still had people bullying me, calling me names. Even in high school, I recall, until that one time I kind of responded, and someone was kicking me, and I kicked them back, and that was it. And, I never got bullied again. I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but I do recall that. And then going back many years later, back to Utah, I was like, oh wow, okay. Definitely the culture is different, as what I recall. And it's like, okay, people's attitudes was just, when I was growing up, I just felt that was normal. And coming back, then I kind of felt like, oh, okay. It's not the same as in like where I'm currently living, right?
Yeah.
And did it change? I don't know if it really changed. It's just that that's the way the culture is.
Yeah.
And so when you kind of have to have a little understanding and giving people a little bit of leeway.
Thanks for jumping in. Let us know your thoughts on how you guys are making the world a little bit better each day.
Build a more peaceful world.
Don't forget to be safe.
Keep training.
And have a great week.
Taekwondo.